Okay, so 250 class. You want to just run down my list here? Should we just
run down the list? I mean, it was kind of a lame main other than the top two guys.
Yes.
So, and we can kind of get into the Fortner Cooper thing.
Fortner Cooper thing.
I'm starting to think that a little differently on that situation.
Okay, well let's start with that then. What are you talking about?
So you were thinking Cooper was better than Fortner, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm starting to see the Fortner of last year starting to show up. They made those bike changes. That bike is amazing. He looks good in the whoops now, somehow.
Okay. Yep, he does look better.
And that's a big piece of the puzzle for him.
Yep.
Okay, he was doing lap time battles with Frenchie.
He was.
He was on pace.
Is he mentally fucked up?
But I do want to point out, Fortner was doing his hot lap, going to the inside and cutting across the transponder line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When Ferrandis did his fast lap, he went all the way to the corner. So
yep.
I wanted to point that out. But he's definitely on the rise. Where Cooper, I think, has just kind of tapered off, man. He started right up there with those guys, and he was just there.
It's definitely starting to become very distinct as to number 1, number 2, number 3, as far as the West Coast goes. And I think it's literally what they finished last night. Actually, the top 4, I think, are very defined, and then all hell breaks loose from 5 on. Yep. But I mean, you literally are. Frenchie is the fastest dude on the West. Fortner is second fastest. Third is Cooper, and then fourth is Mosman.
Yep.
And
Fortner, I think, he's definitely stepped it up from the first couple rounds.
He has. He definitely has more speed where he's closer and can hold Frenchie off more.
And he didn't really look all that sketchy.
Nope. I will give him that. He has definitely cleaned it up a little bit.
He didn't look all that sketchy with Ferrandis behind him. I was really interested to see how that was going to work. But so we'll just go right into the race, man. From what I saw, Ferrandis obviously was the fastest guy because he tried to make a few passes a little early on that off camber. Fortner would pull right back in on him.
Yep.
So, I mean, overall, it was a great race. What we like to see, what we want to see. Pass was clean. Quit booing Ferrandis. That shit's ignorant.
It'll stop here.
I don't know, man.
It'll slow down. It'll dwindle out.
Yeah, but still.
He isn't going to be around for 6 weeks, so it'll dwindle.
Maybe. It must suck to be the fastest guy, I guess.
Well, I liked it. Did you listen to the press conference?
I did not.
Cooksey straight up asked him, you keep getting booed and stuff. Are you thinking about just embracing this and being the anti-villain? Or the anti-hero, whatever? Yeah. And dude, Ferrandis, the thing that sucks is this, English isn't that good. Yeah. But I did like his response because even though it didn't make necessarily a ton of sense or answer the question, it kind of did in a way because at one point he basically just said, there's something about the checks keep cashing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, yeah, they do. Yeah. The checks keep cashing. Now, as far as that pass went last night, absolutely nothing wrong with that. When they did the slow-mo and you looked at it closely, he slid into the rut, underneath the rut, that Fortner was in. He might have made a little bit of contact, but it wasn't much at all. And so there was nothing wrong with it had he slid into him and made contact. There was even less wrong with it when I watched the replay.
And again, that goes back to Fortner's awareness on track, I think. You've seen it a million times, just like the whole deal at Red Bud a couple years ago when Plessinger went to the inside. There's how far the outside there where you can see the guy on the inside and he does not let off.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I get it, Fortner was committed really early in that corner, but you gotta kind of have it in the back of your head, like Ferrandis tried making a pass there 2-3 times. Square him up. Barsha did it in the main to Tomac. I mean, I think that'll all come. He'll learn from that stuff. He's young, but a guy like Barsha, Tomac on the inside like that, I mean, it was a little different situation, but he kind of anticipated it coming and he could have turned out and went. But either way, it was still clean, awesome pass, slid it in there, did what he had to do, cashed the check. So
check went right in the bank.
Yep.
Guaranteed. So a couple questions about this.
Yep.
Number 1, is Fortner, do you think, mentally screwed at this point for winning this title for this year? This is 2 weeks in a row that Frenchie has started with him and just been absolutely faster than him, hands down.
I don't think so, just because I think he can hold on to the East-West showdowns. And he can look at those as a positive for him and maybe try to put some people in between him and Ferrandis. So I think that kind of keeps him motivated. We'll see East Coast next week, what kind of talent we got over there, but I mean, you throw in some of the guys that Ferrandis has had trouble passing this year in a bad start, and you throw in Jeremy Martin, you throw in RJ Hampshire on the Baker program.
But here's my thing to that. I mean, I don't remember exactly last week. I think I do. The starts are better.
For Ferrandis?
He's top 5 on the start.
They did get better, yes.
So he's going into this break. He extended the points lead. He's beat Forkner straight up now twice. Yep. And I mean, the thing was, we all saw last night, hands down, Frenchie was faster than Forkner. Hands down. Like you said, he threw it in there. I even had on here, he was impatient. He threw it in when he should not have been throwing it in a couple of times.
Yep.
And just be patient, more patient. But hands down faster. In my mind, if I'm Austin Forkner, I'm kind of going, shit, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Because, like we said, last year he seemed to have this extra speed that no one else had. Now, again, we could argue back and forth all day long that there wasn't anyone he was racing on any sort of level. And we saw that in the East-West shootout, that when we got the East-West, AC and Frenchie just completely hammered the shit out of him. But
I think it'll be interesting.
I'm not saying he can't win, but I think it's going to be start dependent on Frenchie at this point.
Yeah, it's just going to be interesting for me and everybody else as a fan to see how Forkner responds to this. He's never really been in a situation like this his whole career, essentially. So we'll see if he can step it up, go back home and figure it out. And if he can figure it out, that's something that separates the greats from the normal guys. Also so this is a really testing time, I think, to see the future of Forkner. Because it's not going to get easier from here on out.
No.
So if he can figure it out, find that extra little bit of speed, then I'm not a Forkner guy by all means, but if he can figure it out, and boys better watch out in the future. So.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I agree. If he can figure it out, then it'll definitely make the last 4 rounds interesting. Yep. If he doesn't, I think it's going to be very boring. Like I said, outside of Frenchie going back to bad starts.
But he's also young.
Yeah,
if he can figure this out this early in his career and go into next year, like, I don't see anybody beating him next year.
That was something I heard in one of the podcasts today brought up too, is that Ferrandis is older. He is going to 450s next year. He is a defending champion, where Forkner still has another year in the 250s. Right. So, okay, yeah, I get that. Can we talk about, and I give it to Forkner too, in qualifying, he went toe-to-toe with Ferrandis trying to beat him.
He did. I did not like the cockiness of it. Threw a fat old whip thinking he had
Oh,
it.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
But you cut the line, son.
Yeah, I know. It's like when you beeline across there and like Ferrandis beats you by 3/10.
I mean, I get it for gate pick and stuff like that, cutting across there, but run the race line, man. And Ferrandis said that too. He's like, I'm just going to run the race line.
And see what happens.
We're racing tonight, not practicing.
But Ferrandis, dude, 6 for 6.
Yeah.
6 for 6. That's impressive. Like, I wish we could go back in the archives and see, like, has that been done before?
Yeah.
As far as that goes.
I don't think it has. I think they talked about it on the broadcast. Let alone the 450 class matching. Cooper was. I don't even think you have him on there, do you?
I do, yeah. So Knight got 3rd, and all I had for notes was he's clearly the 3rd fastest guy at this point.
At this point, yes.
But is that somewhat situational circumstance too? Because he's had a couple of bad weeks in a row.
He has.
This week he got like a decent start. I think he was like 4th. He moved up to 3rd, and like that was it.
He has done damage control. I think the break will be good for him to kind of reset.
Yep.
I don't know. Hopefully he can pick up some speed because it'll just make everything more interesting. But he's just kind of mailing it in right now, waiting for a mistake from those guys. And that's. I don't think he has the raw speed like he did in the first couple rounds.
I would agree with that. Now here's one thing that I didn't even think about until I heard it on Pulp today that I think we all kind of forget. This is only his 2nd full year in the class.
Yes.
We all forget the first year he rode, 1 race, got hurt in practice in the 2nd one, and that was it for Supercross.
Yep.
So this is only his 2nd full year. He's on the podium very, very consistently.
Checks are cashing for him, too.
I was going to say, the checks are cashing, and so, in my opinion, if he is top 3 in the points at the end of this Supercross season with a win and or wins because he gets another one here, that's a great 2nd season for him.
Yeah, and
he has more years in the class.
Yeah, and I don't really know how the pressure is in the truck right now, but all eyes are on Ferrandis.
Oh, yeah.
For him to kind of show what he's been showing, And when you start thinking about how much he's actually raced and been in the class, we've kind of shit on him a little bit, and we've kind of talked him up a little bit. We've been all over the board with Cooper.
Yeah, we have. We really have. We're bad people, but it's okay.
Yeah, our stories don't really stay very straight.
No.
But, if I'm sorry Yamaha, I'm looking at him like, dude, keep doing what you're doing.
I'm looking at him as, okay.
And if I'm him,
2 years left.
I mean, I know he wants to win. I know he wants to be that guy, but he needs to start thinking about like the bigger picture there. So.
And the bigger picture is you go through this year, you're top 3, you're running with those guys, you're seeing what the speed needs to be to win titles, getting your bonuses, and then you come in next year as the guy.
Yeah. Depending on what coast you're on, you can be the guy.
And then you win next year and follow it up with another year, and then you go into 450s as a 2-time Supercross champion and 250s. I mean, that's good. That's going to get you a good base salary there going into 450s.
And I think come outdoors too. Watch out. He'll be real for the outdoor title.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's going to be right in there.
If he gets as much better as he did coming into this year's Supercross season into outdoors, then yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: is he just? And I know this is super early, and he's only a 250 guy. Is he just like the next Ryan Dungey, where he just podiums guys to death, and is always there, but like maybe doesn't get it?
I don't see him having a Dungey career at all.
I don't know, man. Right now. I mean, dude, I can't remember what the stat was. They said on one of the pulp shows one time last year. His stats for podiums in his first 2 seasons is unbelievable.
But Dungey on a 250F, he would win.
Would he? I don't remember his 250 career. I was not in the sport at that point.
250 career, obviously.
I'm gonna have to go back and
one of the first years or whatever was the whole Lawrence situation. But he was winning races.
Yeah.
Beating those guys straight up. Okay, and then the next year he was winning, and he straight up just won the title with the number 10 on the bike.
I don't know, man. It's an interesting thing. So, one other
Moseman, that's the Moseman we should have been seeing.
I mean, he's 4th fastest dude, but again, he's only 2nd year in the class too, isn't he? So he's got a couple more years.
I think he's still building.
So I think he holds shot. He led the first 3 laps. The thing with Moseman is we see him.
I think there's a lot of pressure on him. He is the only lusty guy.
Yeah.
Right now, so.
But the other thing with Moseman is, so he does this shit where he like runs it in on the guys, but then like last second backs off. No. If you're gonna go all the way. Like last night on that Forkner thing, and he did it on Frenchie a couple times in the past couple weeks too. Like if you're gonna go, just go.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to show the wheel and do that game, but it's not gonna rattle these guys anymore.
No,
so.
he's gotta, at this point with those guys, if he wants to do that, you gotta go in and make contact then at that point. So. The other thing I had was McAdoo's bike braking.
Yeah, solid ride for Clout.
Super solid ride. Clout. And dude, how about, well, actually I got 2 more here. Brown.
Did he pull an 8th? He looked good that heat.
He looked he was leading the heat.
He was leading that heat for a second. Should have went with him in fantasy again. He's just steadily getting better. He's proven he ain't a pit bike guy.
He has definitely made strides this year compared to last year. And what are our thoughts on Drake?
I almost went with him in fantasy because he wasn't an all-star.
He's got
0
speed.
handicap though.
He's got speed,
and I wish I would have went with him because I would have been looking a lot better. But I looked back at his results. I got all nerdy. He hasn't finished outside the top 10 besides 1 round.
And he's got speed.
Yeah.
Like we've seen him run up front at this point.
Yeah. That heat race, he was up front a little bit too.
Well, he led in Glendale.
Yep. So I think speed's there. It's a matter of fitness, learning, intensity, all that kind of stuff.
He is a true rookie. So
yeah, I think he's the best TLD guy we've seen in a while. That's been part of their project.
Project. So and I told the chick we were watching the race Saturday night. I said, "Whew, they were showing him on TV for something." I was like, "Man, he's got speed, and we can work with speed." So I think he's got a good career ahead of him. Anything else with 250s before we move on? Because that's pretty much all I got going on here.
Alex Martin,
rough night.
Your suspension does not look good, man. Like, you got to figure that thing out through the whoops.
I like Alex Martin, but I think he's definitely on the downward side.
I like Alex Martin too, man, but he's on the ground a lot.
He is.
So.
Is that JGR Suzuki, man?
Outdoor guy.
Yeah.
Outdoor guy.
So, anyway, anything else? Nothing? We're good?
No, not really, man. We kind of covered it all. It was kind of a race, I guess.
It was good up front, but
it sucks
really
to say that compared to the
after.
450 class because there's a lot going on in that class.
Yep. Okay, cool. Then we'll take a quick break. We'll move on to 450s here.